Hey everyone! So I wanted to hop on here today and talk a bit about my husband and I and how we came to be. And I felt really led to talk about surrender and what that looks like. Um, and I know that we all probably have a good understanding of what surrender is when we're referring to the Lord. I think as Christians, we all, to some degree or another, give ourselves over to the Lord, surrender parts of our lives, and then for some, it's a little bit more. For me, in 2020, I really had reached a rock bottom, living in a cycle of depression and just being in survival mode my whole life. And I just had faith and understanding that He had good plans for me. And so I needed Him, and He rescued me. So in that sense, I was fully surrendered to Him. I just handed Him everything, every part of my life. And the first bit of that was something that I never thought that I would do, which was go through a divorce. So that was the beginning of that journey for me, of Him just really realigning my life. And so, yeah, the beginning of the year 2020, I did something really crazy. And I asked Him for 10 years of growth in that 1 year. And He really delivered on that. So if you're brave like me and you're feeling courageous, I would recommend it, because He has really, really helped me and delivered me, and it's been wonderful. And so I just want to look at my notes here and make sure I'm saying everything that I want to say. Yeah, so He rescued me at the beginning of 2020. Yeah, the biggest thing is that I was really serious about getting to the root of why my life was the way that it was. I mentioned being in survival mode, and I needed Him. I needed Him to reveal that to me. So I really went through a journey the year of 2020. I faced a journey of healing physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Physically, I was very overweight. I have since lost 80 pounds and have been keeping it off. And so I was majorly, I obviously changed my diet, and I began working out, and I just was focused on detoxing my body to become more balanced and healthy. So that was the physical side of things. Emotionally and mentally, I went through a program called Alive and Free after going through some therapy, and Alive and Free with Sammy and Spencer Robbins. They have been wonderful, and they really helped me tie up loose ends of getting to the root of what I identified within myself was insecurity and fear, which obviously resulted in how I was living my life. I would never try new things. I would never get into anything other than having my children. And I was really into people pleasing. That was my way of surviving, just trying to make everybody else content. And so I was dealing with all of that, and then and facing that, realizing those things, so that I could change them. Also spiritually, I obviously was seeking the Lord, and He was revealing these things within me, open doors, trauma of my past, and I was able to close doors and just find inner healing for my heart. He was dealing with my heart, and so I found closure on the things that needed closure. And yeah, I really healed a lot in that time. And right when I had wrapped up with the program that I went through with Alive and Free is when my husband approached me online. And I felt comfortable and confident in speaking with him because he's a Christian man that my family knows, my parents specifically. And he felt like a safe person to communicate with. And ultimately, he obviously approached me. We began talking, and it led to us being married. And for the first time, I felt that I have a kingdom marriage. And what does that look like to me? He really helps me to continue in the path that Jesus has for me and my destiny and a person who I am. I've continued to grow ever since we began speaking, and I feel that I do the same for him. He is born and raised in Uganda. He's still currently there. He will hopefully be visiting the States soon, but he has a ministry over there, and so over the last year or so, he had already had an orphanage that he had supported, and was supporting many children, whoever he could in his area. And more recently, he built a church for his community as well as a school, and those are the newest projects. And so he has really given himself over to the Lord, and I feel, even though that I'm here, I feel like a good helpmate. I feel that I help his heart the way that he helps my heart, and helps me to be able to do what I need to do for my family over on this side. And so, yeah, the other thing is, for kingdom marriage and how I define it, is that we have the same goal, which is to ultimately help as many as God's children as we can, as many of the lost as we can. And we're obviously doing that in our own ways. But we help each other to be able to do that. And who is Indy? I would like to say, Indy is my husband's name. Well, it's Nafuna, but for everybody's sake in America, I told them I'm telling them Indy. So I'm hoping that you guys will meet him someday in the near future. We'll be doing videos together. But he, obviously we know our God is such a good God and such a loving Father, and more than giving a good helpmate and a kingdom mate to be able to be doing our purposes and destiny, he speaks to me as a person. It was really special in experiencing who he is, and just the little things that he does that really just resonate with who I am, and that's really special. So yeah, I want to encourage you to continue laying down your lives, continue aspiring, because I can honestly say, I wanted the majority of this video to be an introduction to my husband and I, but more than that, he has transformed all of my life. I was in isolation in my first marriage. I was unable to live and grow and be. I wasn't comfortable in who I was. And yet I knew I had these things within me, and I knew I had a big God. And I can confidently tell you that where I live is because he had his hand in it. Where I work, the people that I consult, it's because he has his hand in it. Where my children go to school, all of the major things in my life is because I handed it over to him, and he has done such a beautiful packaging job in how he has delivered it to me, for me and who I am. And So I want that to be encouraging to you and help you. Yeah, it's really hard. I'm not going to lie. It was super, super hard to, I had to rely on other family members as a woman in my 30s. And, they obviously all had their thoughts and opinions and on how things should go. And, I had my own vision and obviously, seeking the Lord. And it was tough. It's really tough having to just hand everything over and watch your life be completely rebuilt. But again, it's so worth it. And that kingdom spouse, it is so worth it. So worth it, guys. And still to this day, I am in constant surrender. Like I had mentioned, my husband is not currently here with me. He's busy doing the Lord's work there. I'm busy doing the Lord's work here. But I have such confidence in my God, and I know that He will provide and He will make a way, and it's going to be wonderful. I can honestly tell you, I don't know what my future looks like. I know that I have heart's desires, but I hand them all over to Him, and I'm excited to share them with you as they unfold and as they continue to unfold. So, yeah, I hope this was encouraging for you, and I look forward to sharing more and more with you guys. I love you guys.